Hello and welcome to this video where we'll be going through the AQA GCSE Mathematics paper. This is paper 2, it's a calculator paper from November 2019. This is part 1 of the video, subsequent parts will follow. Let's begin. Question 1. Simplify 8a minus 3a plus a. Circle your answer. So to begin with, when we are adding and subtracting, we are literally collecting like terms. So 8a minus 3a plus a means that we can do this in any order. So I'm going to start from the left going right. So 8a minus 3a, well, that comes out as 5a. If we've got 8 of an item and we subtract 3 of them, we are left with 5. If we then add one more item back on top of that, we should have 6 of them, so that should be 6 a's, and therefore 6a is our correct answer. Question 2. Which of these numbers is 3 less than a square number? Circle your answer. So if these numbers that we are shown are supposed to be 3 less than a number, then let's see what that number should be. So 5 is 3 less than 8, because 8 minus 3 is 5. 19 is 3 less than 22. 22 is 3 less than 25. And 34 is 3 less than 37. Only one of these 4 numbers is a square number. A square number is a number that is multiplied by itself, which will therefore provide the area of a square. In this situation, if we had a square that was 5 centimeters long and 5 centimeters wide, then the area of that square would be 5 times 5, which would be 25 centimeters squared. And therefore 25 is a square number. So 22 is 3 less than a square number. Question 3. Circle the length of time between 1:50 p.m. and 3:35 p.m. I like to think of these questions as a number line. So I'm trying to find out the difference in time from 1:50 p.m. all the way up to 3:35 p.m. I do this on a number line so that I can make small jumps to certain time periods that make more sense to me. So from 1:50, if I go up a very small jump of just 10 minutes, that will take me to 2 o'clock. From 2 o'clock, I can go up a fairly big jump of 1 hour, and that will take me to 3 o'clock. And from 3 o'clock, it's another small jump of 35 minutes to get to 3:35. In total, I've gone up 1 hour, and 35 plus 10 is 45. So 1 hour and 45 minutes is the correct answer. Question 4. Circle the letter of the shape that has rotational symmetry of order 2. Right, rotational symmetry is how many times a shape will look the same as it is rotated through an angle of 360 degrees. If I take the triangle as an example, at the moment it's looking like this triangle once as in its starting position, but as I rotate it round 360 degrees, once I reach 120 degrees, it's looking like the same triangle again. So that's twice so far. If I keep rotating, it will then match itself a 3rd time before coming back into its starting position. For that reason, a triangle as equilateral will have rotational symmetry of order 3. If I look at the parallelogram, it's currently in its starting position, so that's rotational order 1 so far, and as I rotate it, it will match itself one further time when it's upside down, and then nothing again until it is back in its starting position. That means that this has rotational symmetry of order 2, which is going to be our answer. Just so we're clear about the other shapes, I'm going to go straight to S, the square, as it is rotated round 360 degrees. So it's once in its starting position, twice when it's 90 degrees, a 3rd time at 180, a 4th time at 270, and then back into its starting position, so that has rotational symmetry of order 4, and the circle has rotational symmetry of infinity, because no matter where you turn it, it is going to be the exact same circle. So a circle has rotational symmetry of infinity. Question 5. Here are 8 numbers. Part A. Work out the range. So the range of a set of numbers is the biggest number subtract the smallest number. It's the difference between the largest and the smallest. So from our list of numbers, the biggest number is 14, the smallest number is 3, and so our range would be 14 minus 3, which is 11. Part B, work out the median. The median of a list of numbers is the middle number. But in order for us to find the middle number, the first step is to make sure our list of numbers is in ascending order. So we're placing the numbers in order, smallest first. We have a 3. We then have 2 4s. Now, this can get confusing for some people as we have large sets. So the safest way of doing this is once I've written down the 3, if I cross it from my list, and every time I write a further number do the same, I will know that I've got all the numbers from the list in the correct order. So the next one is going to be 5. I'm going to cross it off. 9. And then 10, 12, and 14. Let's just check when I cross off the 10, the 12, and the 14, there are no numbers left. The median is now going to be the number directly in the middle. Sometimes this will be obvious, sometimes it won't be. The easiest way of finding this is crossing off the smallest number and the largest number each time and working our way into the center. Now, when we get to the center, there'll be one of 2 situations. If we started with an odd amount of items, there would be one single number left in the middle, which would be our median. In this case, since we had an even amount of items to begin with, we have ended up with 2 items in the middle, which is a 5 and a 9. The median is the number directly in the center of them. Once again, sometimes this will be obvious what the number is. In this case, I think it should be obvious that the number 7 is in the middle of 5 and 9. But if it's not, you can also work this out by adding the 2 numbers together and then halving the result. So 5 plus 9 is 14, and half of 14 is 7. So 7 is the median. Question 6. A shop has this offer. £5 reduction if you spend more than £100, £10 reduction if you spend more than £150, £20 reduction if you spend more than £200. At the shop, dresses cost £42 each. Amira buys 3 dresses. Bobby buys 5 dresses. How much more than Amira does Bobby pay? So we need to work out how much they are spending and then if there's any reductions to make. So I'm going to start with Amira. So for Amira, Amira's buying 3 dresses. Those dresses cost £42 each, so a multiplication of 3 multiplied by 42, giving us 126, will be how much Amira has spent. But that's before any reduction from the special offer. Since Amira has spent £126, she's qualified for the £5 reduction, but not the £10 because she hasn't reached 150. So Amira's actual spend will be the 126 minus the £5 reduction, which is going to be a total of 121. When we come to Bobby, Bobby's buying 5 dresses. So 5 dresses at £42 each is going to be 210. Now let's apply the offer. So Bobby has spent more than £200 and therefore has qualified to have a £20 reduction from the bill. So 210 minus 20 is 190. And we want to know, to answer this question, how much more Bobby pays than Amira. So your final calculation is to find out the difference between £190 and £121, which is going to be a total of £69. Question 7. Solve x plus 17 equals 12. So we're trying to find out the value of x. Now this is a number that we're going to add 17 to and end up at 12. Now it should be obvious that if you are adding 17 to a number and ending up at 12, then we must have started in the negative numbers, but we need to know exactly which one. The opposite of adding 17 to a number so that we can reverse the operation will be to subtract 17. But we need to subtract 17 from both sides of the equation. So x plus 17 minus 17 just leaves us with x. On the other side, 12 minus 17 is minus 5. So x is minus 5. For part B, w divided by 4 equals 12. Once again, the opposite of dividing a number by 4 will be to multiply the number by 4, and so we have to do that to both sides. W divided by 4 multiplied by 4 is just w. And on the other side, 12 times 4 is 48. W is equal to 48. Part C. Simplify fully. 9m divided by 12m. Now I've drawn this a little bit bigger so that it's easy to see what I'm doing. So first of all, let's deal with the numbers. This is a fraction of 9 over 12, and we are looking for a common factor of 9 and 12. Both of those numbers appear in the 3 times table, which means we can divide them both by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4, and so the fraction of 9 over 12 simplifies to 3/4. Over on the other side with the m's, a number or item divided by itself is equal to 1. So we can actually just cancel out the m from the top and the m from the bottom, which leaves us with only 3/4. You could also say that that is equal to 0.75, but I would probably leave this as the fraction. Question 8. The cost of a taxi journey is £3 plus £2 per mile. Circle the cost of a journey of 6 miles. Well, the £3 is known as a fixed charge. That's going to be paid no matter how long the journey is. The only thing that changes our cost is how much we are travelling per mile. So £2 per mile for a total of 6 miles means that we are doing 2 multiplied by 6 to give us 12. But then we also have our fixed charge of £3. So 3 plus 12 is 15. So the total cost will be £15. Question 9. What percentage of this shape is shaded? This question involves counting squares that are shaded. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 full squares shaded. And then here we have half a square there and half a square there. So if we're adding on a half square and another half square, it means in total we have got 10 shaded squares. Now if we write this as a fraction of the entire shape that's shaded, 10 are shaded out of a total of 25 if we counted all the squares. Now you have a couple of methods of how you can turn this into a percentage. One of the methods is to make the fraction have a denominator of 100. Percent literally means out of 100, for every 100. So to turn the number 25 into 100, we would have to multiply by 4, which means that if we're keeping this fraction equivalent, we would also have to multiply the 10 by 4, which will be 40 out of 100, which is the same as 40%. Question 10. A group of students were asked to name their favourite burger. The pictogram shows the results. The key is missing. 40 students said veggie. How many students said chicken? So we know that the total of the veggie students is going to be 40, which means that we can work out the value of one full circle by taking 40 and dividing it equally between the 5 circles that are present, which means that each circle is going to be worth 8. This question doesn't ask you to draw a key, but I'm going to put one in so it's very clear that a full circle represents 8 people. Now we need to say how many students said chicken. So if we look up at the chicken, we have got a full circle which is represented 8 people, another one, and a third one. So there are 3 full circles. We also have a half circle, which means that half of 8 will be 4 people for that section. So in total, we have 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 4, and so a grand total of 28 people said chicken. Question 11. C is equal to 250 minus 16 squared. D is equal to 18 times 14 divided by minus 28. Work out the value of C times D. Now, with this being a calculator paper, you could have typed in these numbers to the calculator and write down the results. Just so we're clear about what's actually happening here though, 16 squared is 256. So C is 250 minus 256, which is minus 6. For D, 18 times 14 is 252, and 252 divided by minus 28 is minus 9. So we have the values for C and D, and now we are going to be doing minus 6 for the value of C, multiplied by minus 9 for the value of D. Well, 6 times 9 is 54, and if we multiply a negative number by another negative number, the answer is going to be positive. So C times D is 54. Question 12. When a spinner is spun, it shows blue, green, red, or white. When a coin is tossed, it shows heads or tails. The spinner is spun and the coin is tossed. Complete this list of possible outcomes. So we already have the situation where we have spun blue and got heads from the coin. The other possible outcome for that one would be whether we spun blue but got tails instead. We've now got this same situation with each of the different colours. So we've also got green followed by heads and green followed by tails. We've got red followed by heads and red followed by tails, or we've got white followed by heads or white followed by tails. Those are all the possible outcomes. If you are not confident in writing down all of these or are unsure whether you've missed any, you could also have done this question inside something called a sample space diagram, which basically is a table of values which allows you to see all the possibilities. So if I draw the table in, down one side, which I'm going to be the left, is going to be our spinner, which means we could have got blue, green, red, or white. And across the top is going to be my coin, in which we could have had heads or tails. And you can see that if we had drawn this table out before us writing all the outcomes in, you could see each individual section has a colour and a coin toss. So we can see there are a total of 8 possibilities. Question 13. A quadrilateral PQRS has PQ equals 5 centimeters, which is already drawn on the diagram. QR is perpendicular to PQ. QR is equal to 7 centimeters. Angle QPS is equal to 135 degrees. PS is equal to 8.5 centimeters. And on the grid, we have to draw the quadrilateral PQRS, and PQ has been drawn for us. Right, to begin with, QR has to be perpendicular to PQ. Two lines are perpendicular if they meet at a 90-degree right angle. So for this one, we are starting at Q and going down to R, but this has to be 90 degrees. So starting at Q and going down to R has to be 90 degrees. And now we need to make sure we make this the right length. We are also told that QR is equal to 7 centimeters, which means since this is a centimeter grid, we have to go down 7 squares. We are now at this position here with 7 squares. That is the point R. Now we need an angle of 135 degrees to create the angle QPS. Now angle QPS is you basically starting at the point Q, moving to the point P, and then moving to an unknown point S that's somewhere else, and it will create this angle here. Now, that angle needs to be 135 degrees, and you can do it in one of two ways. You can use a protractor to actually measure the angle accurately, or you can recognize that 135 degrees is actually the 90-degree right angle plus an extra 45 degrees, which is going to be half of the right angle, which means that if we're starting at P, 90 degrees would go straight down, but an extra 45 will send us going down on this path here. Now I'm going to draw this line in full because we're now going to have to make sure we find the point S that's 8.5 centimeters away from it. And for that, we'll need a ruler. So if I take a ruler and I measure our line, I need to get this to be 8.5 centimeters. So 8.5 centimeters from P will take us to this point down here, around about that mark. You do get a small tolerance of error when it comes to these questions, usually around 2 degrees or 2 millimeters. To finish this question off, this point that we have just identified needs to be joined to R because this is supposed to be a quadrilateral, which is a 4-sided shape. And so we have the point S, and so quadrilateral PQRS has been drawn. This is going to be the end of the first part of this video. Join us back for question 14 onwards in the subsequent parts.